Back here combining more beans today. Today's Sunday morning, or Sunday afternoon now, the 22nd of October. And this 15-acre field has just this little bit left, a few rounds. So we'll ride along here a little bit. I've had a lot of comments talking about the clean beans. I want to elaborate on that a little bit here. These are just Roundup Ready beans. Seed Consultants brand, 3-1 maturity. And what I did this year was they pre-emerge sprayed these beans. So as soon as I had them planted, before they came up, they came in and sprayed. I can't remember what it is. I'd have to look on the slip. But they sprayed a product, and the reason I went that route this year is because they claimed that if with this pre-emerge, daggone it, keep missing that edge over there. With this pre-emerge, that they're having pretty good luck with it, that you don't have to come back in the second time and spray to clean up. Like if you do a burn down and no-till in the spring, sometimes you have to come back with Roundup later on and clean up later in the summer. Well, they said they've been having pretty good luck with this stuff and sometimes they didn't have to come back in and spray that second time. So that's why I went that route, but there was a little bit of stuff that broke through that, and I can't remember exactly when, but I had them come back and do that cleanup, and that wiped out the little bit that was left. But that's why there aren't any weeds in any of these fields. Now, my friend that these are with the camera glasses, this video, the first video I made with those there, I put up last night, he did the same thing. He planted mycogen beans, and I can't remember their maturity on those. I was thinking they were a little longer season, but he did the same thing, and some of his needed that cleanup, and he didn't want to do it, so his just had the one application. Now there were a couple spots. They came in and spot sprayed 2 or 3 fields that had a little bit of junk in them, but for the most part his just had that pre-merge application, and that was it. But I had all of mine sprayed that cleanup round, and I can't remember, it might have been late July. I was thinking it was late July. It was like 7 or 8 weeks after planting that some stuff was coming up, and I think the cleaner the beans are, they just have a better chance of succeeding. So that's why I had them come in and make that second pass. Now it costs a little extra money doing all that, and of course this year we got robbed on rain, so our yields aren't that good. I've got this little bit and another 4 acres to go, but if I get 40 bushel the acre this year, I think I'm going to be doing real good, because it's just been really pathetic. But that darn lack of rain for 2 months just killed us. And as far as green stems, I know some of you guys are saying you have dry beans but green stems. This is the only field that I've seen a couple little spots that had clear green stems and the beans are dry. Now I don't know if you can see, but on the left side of my grain table right there, there's a green stem. But I'm not having any trouble running them through. It's not making the cylinder bark or bogging anything down. They're going right through just like everything else. But the stems are clear green and the beans are dry. Trying to keep my speed steady here because it doesn't let that head bounce as much as it's doing there. Usually if I start out slow and ease into it, it kind of, yeah, like there, it quit doing it, and then I can speed up a hair. But everything was going good until last night about 7:30, and I was right over there on this side of the waterway in this field, my reel stopped moving. I had just took a little swipe. I was cleaning up a little corner, or a little triangle piece, and I was turning around to get back into beans, and my head, the reel stopped spinning, and it was making a funny noise, and I quick shut everything down, and I got out to see what the heck was going on, because sometimes if the reel's down too far, and you get into like you get a hump in the dirt, or in the ground or something, that reel will catch, and it'll make everything slip, and if you raise your head up and pick your reel up a hair, it'll be alright. But I was already up in the air 3 feet. I thought, well, what the heck? Well, here I discovered on the left side of this head is where the wobble box is. And what the wobble box does is it transfers your power. See, everything's moving this way. Your shaft on the combine and the wobble box, the main pulley, is moving this way, but the cutter bar is going this way. So the wobble box transfers that motion this way to this way for the cutter bar to turn. Well, what happened was the bolts came loose on that wobble box. There's a rock, and that wobble box came loose, and it spun, and it got everything in a bind, and that's why it stopped. So I got it over to the building over there, and of course I don't have light outside or anything. I was just using my little pocket flashlight. I was trying to figure out how severe the damage was, and by then it was 8 o'clock, and I hadn't slept much this week, so I said to hell with it, and I just called it a night. But what I determined was the bolts that came out, the wobble box turned and was in a pinch, and there's a thin piece of steel, just like, maybe like that, like 3 inches wide at the most by, say, 8 inches long. It has 5 holes in it. It bolts on 3 spots on the platform, and then in 2 spots on the bottom of the wobble, or actually on the top of the wobble box. There's like a little section of steel there, and it holds all that together. And then the other 4 bolts hold the wobble box to the piece it's bolted to. Well, what happened was when them bolts came loose, that doggone plate broke, and it actually did. We found out this morning. I had my brother come out this morning to help me, because that wobble box is pretty heavy, and it's hard to kind of hold all that crap in one spot to get the bolt started. So he came out and gave me a hand, and after we got everything together, we determined that it actually twisted the head on the cutter bar a little bit. See, the head's removable on those cutter bars. It's the same head for anything from 13 foot up to 30 foot, say, on these older 200 series heads. And it actually tweaked it a little bit when it got in the pinch. So what we had to do, we got it all back together, and it was rubbing on the first guard down there. And he says, wait a minute, let's take that guard back out. And the guard has a sliver cut out of it that the cutter bar goes back and forth in between. Well, the top part of that was rubbing on the cutter bar, so we took a grinder cutting wheel and cut those things back here so it wouldn't rub, and then it fixed the problem. But what I'll have to do is, hopefully this will get me by for now. What I'll do is I'll run it until it breaks. Daggone it, I keep doing that.